And besides, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that maybe we should think about treating somebody who's addicted to a drug. Maybe it's something like being addicted to alcohol. What if we put all our alcoholics in prison? You know, the trouble is when I say that stuff in Washington, there's always somebody popped up and says, yeah, that's what we ought to do. But, you know, and I thought this administration would be a little bit better on that issue. They so far have not been, but it's one area where I tend to be optimistic. I keep thinking that the country might be like they did after Prohibition of alcohol. When, you know, they sort of woke up and say, hey, this was a dumb experiment. and then of course, they repealed Prohibition. But isn't it remarkable, and that's not so long ago, that they figured we wanted this social engineering and tell people what to do, what they can drink. They actually thought they had to amend the Constitution to tell people about that. So they amended the Constitution, didn't work. They amended it again to get rid of it. Now they don't have anything to do with it. You know, they just go do these things without even considering the Constitution. But, you know, the drug issue is an interesting one that I've been able to use against many liberals who might not be sympathetic with some of the things, especially if you talk about states' rights and state sovereignty. You know, that's a turnoff. People, that means you're really out of it if you talk about that. But if I get on a show that I know is a liberal audience, I said, well, you know, I think California deserves to have some states' rights. Maybe they'd pay their own bills. That would be one thing. But then, if they have enough compassionate conservatives in California that says that sick people who have cancer or AIDS, would be permitted to use their own marijuana and maybe get some relief, maybe the state of California ought to have the right to say that instead of the federal government coming down hard on the state and telling them what to do, and they understand that argument. Matter of fact, the left understands the argument about environment regulations. Some states are much stricter on what they want done. And under the Constitution, that might not be a wise choice, but under the Constitution, Washington shouldn't be telling the state of Washington or California, anybody, exactly what they want to do, and if they should. And the previous administration now was always in favor of nationalizing regulations. And they tended to, even have the national regulation overtake a state regulation, which would be stricter. Now there is a shift where there's a recognition, but that should be used as a principle. You know, if it's good on marijuana and good on environmental regulations, why isn't it good for all the other issues? Maybe someday that'll sink in, and we'll have this principle that local government is best. Our problem, though, isn't so much that we have to explain and show them how the federal government messes up so much. The opposition who likes government, they want bigger government. They want world government. This is what's likely to come out of this economic crisis if we don't win this fight. Is they want to take this and they want another international bank. They want the United Nations, the IMF, running it. They want these special drawing rights, this stuff they used to call paper gold, as to be the money of the world. And all the financial regulations, they want to be internationalized. They've already started that. When you talk about the regulations of vitamins and nutritional substances, the drug companies want to regulate that under the WTO. So that is a big problem for us too. So we not only have to deal with what we have in Washington, we also have to deal with those who would have even bigger government. The one advantage, though, of if you're looking for advantages and opportunities in the midst of a crisis, if it's really major, which I'm expecting it to be, there's been a lot of these resolutions passed by the states, states' rights, 10th Amendment issues, and state sovereignty issues, and a lot of people who have no understanding of that whatsoever are coming to the rallies because they know there's enough people now demanding this, and yet if there is a total collapse of the dollar, you know what I think will happen? I don't think there will be secession. I think that people will just ignore Washington. I suggested that in one audience that could be possible. I know it wouldn't be in this audience. Some of them said, there are a few who already just ignore Washington. But no, we should use it as an opportunity. But the groundwork has to be laid, and that is the intellectual fight has to be won. People have to know how to defend sound money, and they have to understand how to defend the free market. The biggest challenge in defending the free market is that we are always said to be the ones that have no compassion whatsoever. We don't care for our fellow man. A bleeding heart liberal really cares, and there are a lot of bleeding heart liberals that I know and like and I work with, and they want to talk to on the floor the other day, and we were talking about the credit card bill, and the credit card bill is designed to make sure that the credit card company doesn't gouge you with interest rates. Sounds very good, but that means the people who pay their bills have to pay more, and the people who don't pay the bills get a lower interest rate. And I said, I don't like price fixing. He said, and I said, besides, those people borrow too much money. They shouldn't be borrowing that money if they can't, do that. Arguing the marketplace. He said, yeah, but a lot of people out there are real dumb. So he was smart, and then he knew how. So that means they have the assumption that people are dumb, and therefore, what? We're going to tell you what you can read, what you can ingest, what you can smoke, what kind of habits you can have, what sexual preferences are, on, because people are dumb. And then maybe they'll talk about, intellectual curiosity and other things that the government should regulate. Right now, we still have fair respect for intellectual and religious freedom, but when it comes to what we put into our bodies, all of a sudden, the country for 100 years have accepted the idea that people are dumb, and government has to tell us what to do. Besides, don't you know, if you didn't have, I think this Mr. Ed guy said the other day that if we didn't have the Department of Agriculture, none of the food would be safe. And of course, I was working with somebody from the left on the marijuana and hemp issue, and I thought he automatically would be with me on the raw milk issue. No, you can't legalize raw milk because somebody might drink raw milk that isn't safe. So it's amazing, the rationale. But I believe the philosophy of liberty and the Constitution and the principle that we take care of ourselves and help our fellow men voluntarily makes so much sense that it's the most humanitarian system and the most viable system. It can produce the greatest amount of abundance and the fairest distribution. There's no reason why we can't win this argument. Of course, we've had a lot of debates about the car companies. They're getting a couple of our dollars, and I guess they'll still go into bankruptcy. Just think, if General Motors had gone bankrupt a year ago, it probably would have been all ironed out, and we might have thought it would be safe to buy General Motors cars again or something if the good part of the company was salvaged. But anyway, we've pumped in some money already. They will go through bankruptcy. And the companies that survive will have to pay higher taxes, but the new administration will put more emission standards on the car, make the car smaller and less safe. More people will die from accidents, and on and on. And this whole idea that they will be able to raise enough revenue. This whole idea of cap and trade. I mean, well motivated. Oh yes, it's going to purify the air forever, but what it's going to do is going to liquidate your wallet forever. Is what it'll do. It is just a huge tax. It's been tested in other countries, and it hasn't worked. It cost a lot of money, and it didn't change the